Welcome to this explainer. Today we're unpacking a truly profound piece of philosophical writing from Parth Mehta's ebook Journey to the Core. It's a fascinating exploration of spiritual concepts, but it breaks them down not through, dense academic lectures, but through a highly personal, intimate dialogue.
So let me kick things off by asking you a deeply personal question. Have you ever actually stopped, closed your eyes, and had a real conversation with your own inner voice? And I don't mean your daily thoughts about what to make for dinner, but that deep, quiet observer within you. Because that's exactly what the author has documented in this text.
We're going to explore this incredibly unique conversation between a man named Parth, who represents our everyday physical human experience, and his own soul, whom he affectionately calls mysterious. Basically, whatever knowledge Parth received during his deep meditation, he recorded as a direct dialogue with Mysterious. It's just a brilliant way to map out the spiritual journey.
Chapter 1. The Meaning of Eternal Love. Our inner journey starts with a really fundamental question. Parth asks Mysterious something I think we can all relate to. If a mother's love for her son, or a romantic love between partners, only actually starts after they're born, or after they meet, is it really eternal? It literally has a starting point, right? So how on earth can we call love eternal if it didn't even exist before that specific earthly bond was formed?
Well, Mysterious answers this perfectly. He explains that earthly love, it's just a fragment. The soul is a part of God, and the love between the soul and God is what is truly eternal. True love is essentially a state of ultimate peace and dedication. It's an experience where you don't feel separate anymore, but you actually consider yourself as one with the divine. It's this feeling of ecstasy and total unity.
Moving on to Chapter 2, the default setting.
So, shifting from abstract love to daily practice, Parth admits he doesn't really feel a connection just by chanting God's name. And Mysterious brings this right down to earth with a great analogy. Think about when you stub your toe, or you get suddenly scared. What happens? You instinctively yell, "Mummy," or call for your parents without even thinking about it. We do this because since birth, our parents have been our protectors. Calling out to them is just our human default setting.
So the crucial takeaway here is that chanting God's name is how you rewire your spiritual default setting. After we're born, our deep, conscious relationship with God gets kind of disconnected by the noise of the physical world. By remembering and contemplating the Lord's name, you actively strengthen that bond. You're basically training your spiritual reflexes so that in times of deep distress, God is who you instinctively call upon.
And to show how this actually works in practice, Mysterious brings up a famous example from the Mahabharata. See, God gives man the freedom to make his own decisions. During that infamous gaming session, the Pandavas didn't remember Krishna, so he didn't intervene. He didn't override their free will. But the absolute moment Mother Draupadi surrendered completely and remembered the Lord, he instantly stepped in to help.
Which brings us to Chapter 3, the Role of the Guru.
Now this brings up a very practical dilemma. Which Lord do you actually chant to? Parth really wrestles with conflicting doctrines here. On one hand, he hears from groups like ISKN that Shri Krishna is the ultimate supreme. But on the other hand, Parth himself is deeply devoted to Mahadev, and that's where he finds his spiritual inspiration. He's troubled because logic and intellect just can't seem to solve who is actually the ultimate truth.
Mysterious completely cuts through the theological noise here. The message is profound. Whatever your specific guru teaches is your ultimate truth. Why? Because the guru knows exactly where you are in your spiritual development and knows the exact path to take you to the ultimate goal. The text makes a beautiful point. To think that your ultimate truth must be everyone else's ultimate truth is just arrogance. Everyone's path is uniquely their own.
All right, Chapter 4, Knowing the Soul.
So, now that we have some guidance, what exactly is the soul anyway? The text contrasts our physical existence with our spiritual one. Our physical body is made of the 5 elements, right? It has hard limits. It literally cannot go beyond those elements. The soul, however, is the invisible, subtle energy provider for that body. Just as God resides in every particle of nature to run the world, the soul resides in the body to give it life.
But how do you actually find something you literally can't see? Let's look at how this translates into a practical exercise. Because we can't see the soul with our physical eyes, and Mysterious even suggests our eyes might have been designed specifically so we can't see it, we have to turn inward. You close your eyes, start your inner journey, and systematically abandon everything you understand, see, or know that is not you. Whatever survives at the very end of that subtraction, that is the soul.
I absolutely love this analogy from the text. Finding the soul isn't about frantically searching through a haystack of thoughts to find some tiny needle. It's the profound realization that the haystack, The grass, all the physical distractions, the noise, isn't actually real at all. Once you realize there is no grass, the needle is just naturally there.
And why does this actually matter to you in your day-to-day life? Well, it's incredibly practical. Mysterious explains that the moment you realize you are a soul, your entire consciousness shifts. You start seeing the person standing in front of you, even if they're an enemy, as a soul too. You realize their actions are just their temporary physical feelings and ideology talking. Because of this wisdom, the urge for petty revenge completely disappears. You might seek justice, sure, but without any personal malice.
Chapter 5. The Path to Salvation.
This total shift in consciousness naturally brings Parth to a pretty towering question. What does salvation actually look like? Is moksha strictly about dissolving and uniting with God? Like, do you have to leave the physical world behind forever to be considered truly saved?
Mysterious steps in and redefines moksha, or salvation, brilliantly. It's simply the realization that you are not the body. Think about it. If you truly know you're a soul, what difference does it make if you have to take birth again? You aren't the physical form anyway. The sheer knowledge that I am not a body, I am a soul, allows you to experience salvation everywhere, completely regardless of what physical realm you happen to be in.
The final piece of the puzzle here is how to maintain that freedom. Even if your soul has remaining karma and you must take birth again to fulfill it, you don't actually have to be trapped. By remembering God during every single action, you remain spiritually free. You do your duty, you act in the world, but because your consciousness is anchored firmly in the divine, you never get tangled back up in the karmic cycle.
It's just such an empowering way to look at human existence and our true spiritual potential. So to wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this thought, based on Parth's journey. If you closed your eyes right now, stripped away the entire haystack of daily worries, and just listened to the quiet needle of your own truth, what would your mysterious soul tell you? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I highly encourage you to take a moment today to start your very own inner dialogue.